A long, long time ago, I can still remember how that music used to make me smile.
3 years after My Best Friend's Wedding came out, Sherry Lansing from Paramount and Tom Rosenberg from Lakeshore called me up and asked me if I'd like to do the movie. I read it, and it was a great story, a great script, and I took it to Madonna.
Rupert brought me the script. He said, "Are you interested in this? Is there anything about this that you like?" Because we've talked about doing something together for a long time.
I became involved in the project when I was sent the script, the original script by my agent, and I liked the premise of it. I liked the idea because they were already cast, that Rupert Everett and Madonna were attached, and that was that.
I had the script sent to me by my agent and was immediately intrigued by the story, and of course by John Schlesinger, the director. And the cast wasn't too bad either, Madonna and Rupert Everett. So I flew out to Los Angeles and I met with John Schlesinger and the producers, read for it, and as I was leaving the building, they ran out and said, "Hey, we'd like to give you the job."
I thought this would be an interesting film to make. And the subject matter is sufficiently controversial, if you like, to make it interesting for an audience.
John was someone I've known for 25 years almost, and I adore. It was a great experience working with John.
It was like working with a great sort of, icon in a way. He's made so many great films. I was very nervous around him. But you know what? He's a teddy bear.
I've always been a huge fan of Mr. Schlesinger's, and I love his body of work. And I thought it interesting for him to take on this particular film because it's altogether different than than the kinds of films that he normally focuses on.
He brings a very particular quality to a film, which is that he shoots stories and character kind of straight down the barrel. He doesn't, he's not afraid of characters doing things wrong, being bad. You know, nowadays in mainstream cinema, there's an obsession to make everyone good all the way through, and it cuts out the dramatic possibilities. And he's very kind of fair to the story and to the drama.
He's leaving me.
Where are you?
I'm cowering behind a flower pot in my courtyard. How do I stop him?
Just pretend you're going out. Just get all dressed up in your Sunday best and leave.
And then what?
Rush over to my house and tell me all about it.
She's an unhappy, lonely figure, I think, to begin with. And she has one saving grace, that she is best friends with this entertaining, fun person, Robert, played by Rupert Everett.
At the beginning of the movie, they're in a particular situation because their mutual best friend at the very beginning dies. She's chucked by yet another boyfriend, and they're kind of marooned in Los Angeles, and they're approaching, the beginning of middle age.
She's rather desperate, I think, that when she's dumped by the last boyfriend that she has at the beginning of the film, desperate that she's missed her opportunity for security and for the opportunity to have a child and so forth. So she's vulnerable.
I'm not 24 anymore.
Not even 34 anymore, so what?
Maybe I'd like to have a family at some point, before it's too late.
Abby, I think you should sort things out with your own wacky family before you think about creating a dysfunctional carbon copy of your own.
Oh, thank you. I knew you'd understand.
I think you think of Madonna and there's a precision about what she sees herself doing, how there's a Japanese look or whatever it is, and it's entered into very fully. And I wanted her to hang loose much more.
I have things in common with her, definitely, because I don't think I would have been attracted to play her if I didn't. But I based her on my yoga teacher, actually, this girl that I know in Los Angeles. In fact, I based the way I look in the movie, and the way I dress, the way my house is decorated, and everything.
Evita, which is a very good performance, she was controlling the whole thing very carefully, I think. But this had to be haphazard in a way.
I found Madonna to be surprisingly intent on making this good. I don't know why I was surprised by that, because it would make sense that someone at her level of success would necessarily have to be a hard worker, but I didn't really associate before I met her being an actress. I thought of her more as a singer.
It's not every day of the week that I sleep with my best friend.
Oh, thank God. Look, we were lonely as hell and we had too much to drink. Full stop. Now, in half an hour, two of the most evil queens in Christendom are coming back to find their over-decorated show palace has been vandalized by their gardener and his plotting nymphomaniacal best friend.
Robert is someone who enjoys being outrageous. At the same time, there is a seriousness about him, which, when the opportunity of being a parent is presented, which he doesn't at first embrace particularly, very seriously.
I'm pregnant with your baby.
When the opportunity arises for him to really connect with that idea and commit himself to that idea, I think one is surprised by the tenacity which he shows.
I want to be the baby's father. Forever and always. One more thing. I can't be a husband.
I've always been a fan of Rupert Everett as an actor. I think he's wonderful and incredibly funny.
Rupert is very good at playing unsympathetic moments very charmingly and amusingly. And I love that quality in his performance.
I was really looking forward to playing this one particular scene we have together where I first come to their home to pick Abby up.
Hi, this Abby Reynolds' house?
Slamming the door in the face of Ben Bratt, he turned it into a charming joke.
That scene was just ripe for, for some good Rupert Everett comedy, and he worked it.
Come in. I'm sorry. I've always been longing to do that. Come in, Robert.
Could have been just very offensive and rude, but when he opens the door again and laughs and said, "I've always wanted to do that," and "do come in," etc., and introduces himself, there's a charm about it.
There's a gym for mirror athletes.
All right, now hold
Half
on.
a mile that away.
Wait a minute. I've got an open mind. I mean, I don't know if I can do the splits, but...
I'm teaching a class in 10 minutes. Promise to go easy on you.
I saw Ben Bratt on his series on television, and I thought, he's awfully solemn, doesn't smile a lot. I wonder if there's enough charm to bowl her over. And then he came out and he read for it, and it was an absolute natural.
Oftentimes in other roles I've played, and especially on the series I just came from, Law and Order, I was playing a very serious, kind of very buttoned-down individual, somewhat self-righteous, a little bit stoic, and this was a chance to lighten up a little bit, to, you know, woo the girl, to kiss the girl, to get the girl and keep the girl.
Let's have dinner.
Are you asking me out on a date?
Yeah. Is that all right?
Benjamin, I think, is a crucial part of the movie because he has, as a man, the same kind of qualities that Ben has in the film, in that he's a real man's man, but he's not a macho, and he's not territorial. In other words, he hasn't got that paranoid quality that a lot of men have. He's very at ease with himself and very confident, and he's a very good person. And we needed someone like that that would turn her head sufficiently to make her want to make this move.
How's your friend Abby?
She's fine.
How's her love life?
Well, as a matter of fact, she's pregnant.
No, when'd she get married?
She didn't.
Who's the father?
Actually, it's me. I adore Lynn Redgrave, and I'm actually working with her again on the film I'm doing now. She was fantastic as my mother, and exactly like my mother, too.
Well, I love Lynn Redgrave, and I think it was a very small part, and she brings so much to it. I mean, she's delightful and funny.
Having you It's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Oh, no.
Even though you've been an enormous disappointment in many ways.
Oh.
You have. But you're you.
The scene that was most fun for me to do was probably the scene in the yoga studio, where it was a bit like life imitating art. I truly do not know what I'm doing when it comes to yoga, and so the comedy was real.
Exhale, open the leg to the side, gazing to the left.
Oh!
My favorite scene, I suppose, is the scene when she tells him that he's not the father, and the difficulty she has spitting that out.
Look, why can't we just find a solution?
So you do what you want. Just bring Sam back, or
No.
the courts will. That's not
No,
what
they
my lawyer
won't.
says. She says I have a good chance. I have
No.
legal rights.
Robert, no.
Yes.
Robert. Robert, you're not Sam's father.
The scene that really makes me cry is the scene when Abby and Sam are he's in bed and he says, "Who's going to make tea for Daddy when Daddy gets sick?" That's a very sad scene.
You know when I get a stomachache and you make me tea and toast?
Yeah?
Well, if Dad gets a stomachache, you're just gonna make him tea and toast.
When Daddy gets sick, or when I get sick, we make our own tea and toast.
When Abby meets Ben, he's jealous. He doesn't want anyone else poaching on his fatherdom. And in other words, he becomes much more of a typical man, as a matter of fact, than the typical man, Benjamin. He starts reacting, he's paranoid, he overreacts. It's partly his overreaction that brings the story into such disarray.
This is all your fault. Everything was just fine till you came along.
Everything was not fine.
Listen, no one's trying to take anything away from you. We just want to figure out what makes sense.
Well, me and Sam, we have our home here. We have our lives here. If you're so unhappy...
I've never been happier in my life. You're the one that's unhappy.
No. We made an arrangement. We made an arrangement to put this kid first, come what may. But you just want to throw it all away on a whim.
The fact that he won't compromise and settle for some arrangement which would be amicable to all sides is the mistake that he makes, so that it becomes taken to court.
Your Honor, you want to know about my character? I'll tell you. I am an active father.
Caregiver, please.
Father!
I don't think she's in the wrong, you see. And I know a lot of people feel that she is, but I don't feel that. And I think she's very touching and moving in the court scene when she realizes that her lawyer is really out of line in the way he's dealing with Robert.
Objection, Your Honor.
I said stop it.
Counsel, I suggest you confer with your client.
You said he didn't have a chance. You don't have to kick the shit out of him.
A father, I don't think, is something that you own. I think it's something that you earn. And being a good father doesn't rely on necessarily the things that we thought it relied on, which was just blood. It relies on a commitment and a sacrifice.
The door is opened a chink at the end. And I don't know, I like to think of it as an optimistic end.
He's always been in her life. He's always been there for her. He's such a good friend. They'll always be friends, so in a way, why not?
A long, long time ago, I can still remember how that music used to make me smile. And I knew that if I had my chance, I could make those people dance, and maybe they'd be happy for a while.
I love you, Mommy. But I love Daddy, too.
I know.
My character, Robert, in the movie, despite the fact that he is not, in the end, the kid's father, is the father to that kid.